Hey, hello, my fellow YouTubers. So, I just want to use this type of situation as a scenario. So, let's say you did have a toxic relationship. So, maybe a wife or a husband, and now it's an ex, and that's something that's gonna leave a psychological wound, a scar, psychological scar. And so sometimes, it's something you can kind of just shove to the background. But these types of huge scars, an abusive husband or wife, maybe had children together, and so on and so forth, that's going to be there kind of forever. And even though you can kind of detach from it and kind of put it in the background of your mind and your life, it's always kind of be like something you learned a lot from, something that's always kind of influencing you, trying to make sure that you avoid that kind of person getting close and letting that person into you again. And because of that, it's going to be something that you might, under the right circumstances, be willing to share, in a safe, secure place with a person that you trust. So let's say you meet someone and kind of early on in the relationship, they open up to you and share how, they had a toxic wife or husband, and it really was the pits, really the bottom of their life, the lowest they've ever been. And then because you also share that same experience, whether it's the same sex or opposite sex, you then feel it's one of these safe environments. So you open up and you go, yeah, I kind of been there, done that, and I understand, I sympathize with you. I empathize. I also will always carry this kind of wound, even though it might not affect me anymore. It's a scar now. Scars don't hurt anymore. They don't, but they're still there, and you can see them when you look. But then the same person then comes back, and you always see them with this friend of theirs. Now, all of a sudden, they start telling you that this friend of theirs mistreats them and is extremely toxic. But you always see them together. They're always doing things. So you're like, oh, wow. And you try to give some advice. Maybe you shouldn't hang out with that person anymore. Yeah, but I'm just lonely, and, I'm a very forgiving person and whatever. It's like, but still, you're here, you're crying right now. That's not good, whatever. And then they start saying that this neighbor is abusing them. Okay, so then you hear so on and so forth, and they say the management is trying to kick them out. The management's trying to abuse them, and there's more tears flowing. And then this neighbor that, they say is abusing them, you start to get to know. And you don't see this level of, heinous behavior in them. You don't see the capacity for that. And so now you're kind of stuck between a rock and a hard place, And then you're going to start to wonder, okay, now, is she manipulating other people and talking smack about me? Rest assured, if this person has shared that level of complaints about almost everyone in their life, and now you're kind of an acquaintance or bordering on friendship, you better believe they're bad mouthing you to other people. And it's weird how you can get sucked into this because, obviously the Bible tells us not to gossip, and to stay out of that low level, kind of just sticky, negative behavior. But now you kind of know that neighbor that she's pointed the finger at, he or she has pointed the finger at. And she's saying that maybe something weird, like, she smells alcohol on this neighbor's breath all the time, and this neighbor is now constantly trying to ask him out on dates. And when she said no the last time, this neighbor physically grabbed this person and kind of shook him while they were under the influence of alcohol, demanding that they go out romantically. Now you feel like you have to warn that neighbor because you don't believe that's true, but that's assault. She's basically accusing this neighbor that you know of public drunkenness on regular occasion, and Me Too, like unwanted advances and physical assault. And so you feel that you have to warn this person in order to safeguard them and to get them to withdraw from the interactions with that person. But then this neighbor's like, wow, all we have is very, very friendly interactions. She brings food. She brings food over to my apartment, And now this neighbor starts to look at you as suspect. So basically what's happened, you've been drawn into this world of gossip. You've been pulled down kind of to this level. Even though you're not being manipulative, you're not crying crocodile tears, you're not saying that everyone in your life is being toxic and abusive towards you. All you're doing is trying to warn this neighbor, be careful, because this person is saying these things about you to me. And if they were to go and say this to the apartment management, you could end up out on your ear possibly. You could get kicked out. And so now you've become a pawn in this game of chess. So it's insidious, right? On how little strings were pulled that now maybe some people are looking at you as possibly a manipulative, toxic person that has ill will and is trying to stir the pot. So I guess the best thing to be aware of is just as soon as that person shares more than one person being toxic towards them and abusive towards them, to zip the lip and kind of, try to, when you have to see this person, nod your head, don't make suggestions, don't ask questions, just, be there for as short amount of time as possible and say as little as possible. Because these types of people, sometimes within 1 minute, they can badmouth like 4 or 5 different people or groups of people. And you're just like, get me the heck out of here. What am I supposed to do with all of this? All these tears, all these, oh my goodness. So, because at first, you kind of understand because you also had an ex that was abusive and toxic and you just went to the lowest place in your whole life. And it does feel good to kind of commiserate, to share. Yeah, I understand because I've been in that exact same situation. But that feeling of commiserating and can create that feeling of a bond. And then you feel compelled to listen to them complain about this person, that's toxic, and this person that's toxic. And before you know it, then you're getting sucked into this whole little playing field of gossiping and toxicity. So that's just my warning. And it's dangerous, because these kinds of really, really manipulative, toxic people can throw around terrible accusations, and it can cause others to think of you in an extremely bad light. It could cause them going to authorities with this kind of rumors. Anyways, hope that resonated with someone. God bless you. Have a good day.